Mining Weekly Online is talking to Brian Gilbertson and Arné Frandsen of the JSE-listed company Pallinghurst.
In PTM, we set out to create what I believe is a PTM producer for the 21st century. So we start off with saying we need to be sizable. We have now got 100 million ounces under resources. We want to be shallow, because with shallow comes safety and comes cost savings. We are open pit at this point in time, but we will go underground. But again, our plans for the next decades will be to be above the level of refrigeration. We are mining at 1,500 meters above the industry average. We will do that consistently for the next 30, 40 years. To have that luxury of being where the great producers were 30, 40 years ago on the same piece of beachfront, and doing that at this point in time is a privilege. We also did it by creating a close partnership with our BE partner. It's actually the BE you can nearly take out because it's our partner. The way that the Baratla has funded their investments, like we funded ours. We don't have a mortgage on our investment. They don't have a mortgage on their investment. Unencumbered direct exposure, up at shareholder level, not down at the asset level with a big bank debt associated. So when we make decisions, we make decisions as equal partners. We also then brought in the South African government, and we are very grateful for having a partnership with the IDC. It gives the international investors comfort as well, that of all the companies out there to invest in, that the government decided to invest with us. Besides that, we have the Singaporean government through Temasek and the Dutch government through APG investing. So our investors are proper long-term investors, and many of them we have gotten in as first time they're investing into South Africa. So over the past 3 or 4 years, I think, Brian, what have we done? Billion and a half investment into South Africa, dollars. And I guess it puts us as one of the largest investors. We have reached the level of profitability, and we have expanded our production. So currently last year we did 150,000 ounces, and we are on track to improve that this year. And as we roll out our expansion process, we will get to 1.2 million ounces. And when people go to work, again, think of it, they do not sit underground. They sit in an air-conditioned Caterpillar and listening to classic FM.
Have you still got the vision of actually going beyond the production of platinum and going into some sort of beneficiation?
Absolutely. I mean, we have obviously, at this point in time, we are doing our own concentrate. But as we announced when we announced the IDC investment, we have the intention of going into what's known as the Kell technology. And again, it's very well suited for South Africa because it has a low usage of electricity. It is insensitive to chrome content, and it's something that potentially could transform the market, and something we expect a lot of. Again, it is one of the cylinders that we're firing on in creating a PTM mining company for the 21st century.
And have you got any timeline on introducing Kell into the system?
A lot of energy has been dedicated to it. Management is very focused on it. Bankable feasibility study has been presented to the board and approved by the board, and we are now doing detailed engineering design.
There's still a great deal of optimization that can be done, particularly in the recoveries. And we think there are important improvements that can still be done in our metallurgical plant. We're going to be trying out a new technology. We purchasing the units, which would feed principally the higher grade material and take out barren rock. So what you have to process and treat is much lower. We've mentioned this Kell plant, which has substantial benefits. The platinum industry, I could not have conceived of it being in the condition that it is in, with the major producer considering not being in the commodity or of closing major sections, of the second biggest producer having their marketing director state publicly only 10 days ago that they could meet their delivery commitments to customers perhaps this month, but definitely not next month. We need to have that situation building up among the three big suppliers, none of whom I'm not privy to their production statistics, but my understanding is they're not producing more than 50% of what they historically did. You take that quantity of metal out of the market, you'd expect a major shift in the supply-demand balance, and you'd have expected the price to respond dramatically. It just hasn't. I mean, if anything, it's probably gone down. I mean, I can't explain it. You see reports that the Japanese auto companies, Chinese users of the metal, are trying to contract directly for palladium with Norilsk, because they're looking at South African supply and saying, we better make sure I mean, it kind of echoes back in the late 1980s when the Ford Motor Company and the Toyota and General Motors all needed to make sure they could get enough rhodium for the catalysts then constructed. And the rhodium was not in the ratio that they needed. There's less rhodium for ounce of platinum in the ground than they needed at that time. So they were contracting then and putting up capital to construct mines so they could be sure that they would get the right quantity. So there's an echo of that here. And we're in the happy position that our mine is running, and I think you said we've got a good balance sheet. Well, I actually think it's the best in the industry, but let me not, no doubt my competitors will look at it. So we'd get on with our project and wait for that sea change to take place in the market, and then we will harvest the platinum operation.
That was Mining Weekly Online, talking to Pallinghurst, a company listed on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange.